Coming up on Mountain News at 6, a retired UPS pilot reacts to the deadly crash earlier this week in Louisville. And we have reaction to federal court proceedings in Pikeville being moved to other locations a good distance away.
And we're continuing to track strong to severe storms this evening.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
It is a first alert weather day as a second round of storms is getting ready to move in, but enjoy the warmer air now because you'll need the coats before the end of the weekend. Meteorologist Megan Desmo has our first look at the forecast. Megan.
That's exactly right. We're under that first alert weather day starting today for those strong to severe storms, but it will be continuing until Monday because temperatures will be dropping significantly as we're heading into your next work week. Temperatures starting off your Monday morning will feel like the teens. Also seeing a snow chance in that forecast. I'll have more coming up later on. But in terms of what we're seeing right now on that live pinpoint Doppler radar, we had that first round giving us some of those heavy rains earlier this afternoon and continuing to move throughout our counties now. In terms of that second round right behind it, that's what's going to give us some of those more severe chances. And as we zoom out towards Nashville, you can see the bottom half of that second line is already producing some severe thunderstorms just southeast of Nashville. Now we'll continue to watch that throughout the hours, but as Steve mentioned, it's a little bit on the warmer side right now, so take advantage of those temperatures if you're not seeing the rain, because we're sitting in a mixture of the 50s and 60s, and we'll be dropping those temperatures overnight. Steve.
Megan, thank you. UPS pilots have superior training, and it's likely the crew Tuesday had few options once things went tragically wrong with the UPS plane in Louisville. That's according to a retired UPS pilot who flew for many years. Bill Kite says the plane that crashed Tuesday likely became unflyable. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to him today.
I've flown all over the Atlantic, all over the Pacific.
Bill Kite flew for UPS from August 1989 to July 2020. He was a 767 captain.
And I got to fly big, fast jet airplanes all over the world.
Kite says he believes the plane that crashed Tuesday suffered something which simply made it unable to fly.
There was an uncontained failure of the fan disc on the #1 or the left engine that caused it to separate from the airframe.
And Kite tells me he believes what happened Tuesday was not the result of a lack of training. He says he believes that UPS pilots have some of the best training in the world.
There was nothing that crew, none of their training prepared them for what they experienced.
He says had just the engine separated, the airplane could have flown with an engine separation procedure, but something else happened.
It separated, and then there were subsequent failures related to the separation of the engine.
And just what those other failures were should come the result of the extensive NTSB investigation. In Louisville, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Kite says the crew was very well trained, and he is certain they did all they could to fly it to the very end. 3 people on the plane died, and at least 10 people on the ground were killed. Former Governor Martha Lane Collins' memorial service Sunday at 4:30 will be carried live on KET. There will also be a public visitation from noon until 4 at the old state capitol where she will lie in state. Collins is the only woman to hold the state's highest office and served from 1983 to 1987. She was lieutenant governor before that. Collins died Saturday at the age of 88. Congressman Andy Barr was greeted by dozens of supporters today before making his bid for U.S. Senate official. The window to file only opened on Wednesday and does not close until January 9th. Barr is the first to formally file in the race. Samantha Valentino has a closer look at the race to fill Mitch McConnell's seat.
And I've got 2 great ladies to help me sign these papers today.
WKYT was the only station invited in as Congressman Andy Barr filed to run for U.S. Senate.
For your first official interview since you made it official, how does it feel to put pen to paper today?
Well, it's very gratifying, and it's so gratifying to see the people of Kentucky here with enthusiastic support of this candidacy.
During his filing, Congressman Barr learned he's received the endorsement of Congressman Hal Rogers. It's the first he's given in a primary race since Kentucky's 1991 gubernatorial election.
That is a big honor.
But one question remains. Will President Trump make an endorsement in this race? Barr says he believes he'll receive the president's endorsement, and he's working on it every day.
The one thing that the people of Kentucky can take to the bank is that I am a conservative America First fighter, and I'll be President Trump's #1 ally in the United States Senate.
It's not often a Senate seat opens up in Kentucky. Senator Mitch McConnell has held his seat for 4 decades, and his retirement comes at a time where this race could directly affect the balance of power in America.
For the Democrats to take the U.S. Senate would be a long shot, but it's not impossible. It's important for Republicans to quickly shore up states like Kentucky that everybody views as usually theirs.
Dr. Stephen Voss is a political science professor at UK. Looking at the polls, Voss says former Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron is the race's frontrunner ahead of Barr.
Daniel Cameron has the name recognition of having run statewide before. Andy Barr's got the campaign funds necessary to mount a serious Senate campaign.
Barr and Cameron aren't the only ones to announce their campaigns, though. Businessman Nate Morris is also running as a Republican, but Barr is the first to make it official. In Frankfort, Samantha Valentino, WKYT.
And several Democrats have also announced their campaigns for U.S. Senate. Amy McGrath, Pamela Stevenson, Joel Willett, and Logan Forsyth are all running for McConnell's seat on the Democratic side. Congressman Hal Rogers, the Dean of the House, has filed for re-election. Rogers has served the 5th Congressional District since 1981, which includes most of southern and eastern Kentucky. He's already secured the endorsement of President Donald Trump. Rogers is 87 years old and is the longest serving member of Congress from Kentucky. At last check, Rogers is the only person that's filed. However, Democrat Ned Pillersdorf of Prestonsburg has said for months that he is running. A recent order from a federal judge is moving all proceedings out of the federal courthouse in downtown Pikeville. WYMT's Buddy Forbes spoke to folks in Pike County about that controversial move.
The federal courthouse in Pikeville has been ordered to end all operations by the end of December.
We're very disappointed in this. It's been a staple of downtown Pikeville for over 80 years.
The building was erected in the 1940s and became the Eastern District Federal Courthouse for cases in the Big Sandy area. Attorneys say many generations have pushed to keep a judge in place for cases in the mountains. Some sharing stories about a past president calling former Judge Carl Forrester and nominating him to the seat in 1988.
Well, that was Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was right that we needed somebody in Pikeville. And now, these many years later, we're not going to have anybody.
Now an order has been placed interrupting the docket for the Pikeville courthouse and reassigning its cases to 2 different federal courthouses, both of those located approximately 2 hours from Pikeville, which attorney Mark Wolander, who has been practicing law in the area for decades, says is not the right move for mountain people, since they will now have to travel further for federal litigation.
I don't think they pay attention to the needs of the people in this community. They're going to take some cases to London, they're going to take some cases to Ashland. What happens to all the people in the counties in between?
Pikeville Mayor Jimmy Carter says the rumor mill has always turned about the courthouse closing its doors, but this new order was an unexpected step toward that reality.
We've been hearing for years that it's got a possibility of being on the chopping block, and then they'd say, no, it's going to be fine. And then a couple of years ago, we heard the same thing. We made some calls. We didn't really get any response back on anything. And then, like I said, last week, we got word.
Wolander says he hopes the decision will be revisited, saying even if it is a financial move, cutting costs should not cut out someone's access to a jury of their peers.
I think that people out here deserve more than closing the federal courthouse. We've tried a lot of cases out here, and you're going to get a different jury up in Ashland, and you're going to get a different jury down in London.
Saying communities deserve a court that shares their culture. In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
The future of the building itself has not yet been discussed. Mayor Carter says he has not heard any details about those plans moving forward. A new school is one step closer to reality in Perry County. The school district posted on social media that they now have the property in Perry County for a new Robinson Elementary School off Highway 80 near the Elk Run subdivision. The old Robinson Elementary was destroyed in the July 2022 flood. Since then, students have been using the old A.B. Combs Elementary building. After the Johnson Central football team's Thursday night victory, hundreds of folks gathered on the field, not discussing football, but celebrating faith. A student-led revival broke out on the sidelines, fueled by students who attended an ongoing 14-day revival at Hager Hill Free Will Baptist Church. Pastor Ronnie Spriggs says the Awakening Revival has expanded far past the church walls, which have actually been torn down to accommodate the growing desire to worship. Spriggs says he was blessed to be called to the field last night to see dozens of people leave as new professing Christians.
Also, last night we left here and went down to the football field at the request of the football players, who most of them have been saved through this meeting. And they had to play football last night, and they wanted to have church.
He says the revival continues at the church tonight and will keep going as long as people are showing up.
Strong to severe storms are still continuing this evening.
Plus, we'll profile a local band that's recently had some success on the national stage.